The West Philippine Sea simmered with tension. A Filipino supply boat, the UM-4, crept toward the BRP Sierra Madre, a rusting outpost of sovereignty at 2nd Thomas Shoal. On the horizon, the China Coast Guard closed in, their white hulls stark against the blue. Suddenly, water cannons erupted from the Chinese ships, slamming into the small supply boat. The crew scrambled for cover, their mission to resupply the Marines now a desperate fight for survival. This was no accident. It was a message intimidation in Philippine waters. The world watched as the Filipino crew pressed on, battered but unyielding. They were ordinary sailors thrust onto the front lines of a global power struggle. Every inch forward was an act of courage. The footage spread worldwide. David against Goliath, a superpower using force to bully a neighbor. International condemnation followed, but on the water, words meant little. The Philippines needed more than bravery. It needed a way to defend its people and its rights. Something had to change. The supply boat's battered hull became a symbol. Resolve alone was not enough. The nation's sovereignty demanded more than hope. The world's eyes were on the Philippines, waiting to see what would come next. The crew's determination was clear, but so was the imbalance of power. The sea had drawn a line, one that could not be crossed with courage alone. The call for change echoed across the waves. The Philippines stood at a crossroads. Would it remain vulnerable or rise to defend its place in the sea? The answer was about to arrive. As the crisis peaked, two new silhouettes sliced through the waves. The BRP Valentin Alvarez and BRP Ladislao Diwa, sleek, modern, unmistakably warships, had arrived. Instantly, the balance shifted. The supply boat was no longer alone. The Philippine Navy had entered the fray. The Alvarez-Class ships moved between the Chinese vessels and the supply boat, acting as a shield. Cameras rolled, documenting every move, every threat. The water cannons fell silent. Now, the aggressors were being watched. The new ships weren't looking for a fight, they were there to prevent one. Calm, professional crews coordinated with the supply boat, ensuring its safety. Warnings were broadcast to the Chinese, citing international law. The message was clear. The Philippines would defend its own. For the battered crew, the sight of their navy brought relief and pride. The resupply mission succeeded, a small but vital victory. The world saw a new era dawning in the West Philippine Sea. The Philippines was no longer just a victim. With the Alvarez-Class, it could now stand its ground. Technology, strategy, and resolve had changed the game. The nation's defenders had arrived, not just in spirit, but in steel. The tide was turning. The Philippines had found its shield. The Alvarez-class ships began life far from Philippine shores. Once U.S. Navy Cyclone-class patrol boats, they were built for speed and agility in the Persian Gulf. As the U.S. modernized, these ships were retired until the Philippines saw their potential. Acquired through a defense agreement, they were shipped across the Pacific for a complete overhaul. Filipino engineers stripped them down, reinforced their hulls, and rebuilt their engines for reliability. Outdated American systems were replaced with state-of-the-art radar, communications, and sensors. The transformation was total, from aging patrol boats to modern maritime sentinels. The ships were renamed for Filipino heroes, Valentin Alvarez, Ladislao Diwa, linking past struggles to present defense. This was more than a refit, it was a statement of self-reliance and ingenuity. The Philippine defense industry proved it could adapt and innovate. These ships were no longer American cast-offs. They were Filipino guardians, reborn for a new mission. The Cyclone class had become the Alvarez class, a symbol of transformation. They now embodied the spirit of their namesakes, ready to defend sovereignty. The rebirth was complete. The Philippines had turned old steel into a new shield. The nation's resolve was now matched by capability. The Alvarez class was ready for the front lines. What makes the Alvarez class so effective? It's a blend of speed, size, and technology. At 179 feet, they're small enough for shallow waters, perfect for the West Philippine Sea's tricky geography. Their agility lets them outmaneuver larger ships and respond rapidly to threats. 4 powerful engines push them to 35 knots, fast enough to intercept, escort, or evade. But the real edge is their technology. Upgraded with advanced radar, high-definition cameras, and modern communications, they're floating information hubs. They gather evidence, document aggression, and provide undeniable proof for international law. These upgrades came at a fraction of the cost of new warships. The Philippines got maximum capability without breaking the bank. Smart spending, smart engineering, tailored for the nation's needs. The Alvarez-Class proves you don't need the biggest ships to make a big impact. With the right tools and strategy, even a small navy can defend its waters. The ships are a force multiplier, fast, flexible, and formidable. They're the right answer for the gray zone. The Alvarez-Class packs a punch where it matters most. The Alvarez-Class ships fill a critical gap for the Philippine Navy. For years, slow-aging ships left the nation's waters exposed. Now these patrol ships provide a constant, capable presence. Their main job shield vulnerable missions, like resupplying the BRP Sierra Madre. With an Alvarez-class escort, these missions are safer and more certain. They also protect Filipino fishermen, deterring harassment and reclaiming traditional grounds. Their presence sends a clear message. These waters are not unguarded. High-definition cameras and radar gather evidence, exposing illegal acts to the world. This data strengthens diplomatic protests and legal cases. By shining a light on aggression, the ships make it harder for bullies to act unseen. They free up larger warships for other duties, making the whole fleet more effective. The Alvarez-class handles daily security, multiplying the Navy's reach. A small investment, a huge impact. The nation's lifeline is now shielded. The Philippines can finally defend its own backyard. The Alvarez-class ships are more than hardware, they're a symbol. In a David versus Goliath struggle, they're the new slingshot. Their arrival has replaced helplessness with hope. News from the West Philippine Sea now includes stories of success, not just intimidation. Fishermen feel safer, supply missions succeed. These victories, however small, matter deeply. For the Navy, the ships are a source of pride and professionalism. Crews finally have the tools to do their jobs, and it shows. The transformation, from U.S. cast-offs to Filipino sentinels, mirrors the nation's own resilience. It's a story of adaptation, ingenuity, and self-reliance. The ships inspire not just the military, but the whole country. They defend more than territory. They defend national pride. The Alvarez-class is proof. The Philippines is no longer standing by. It's standing up. The Alvarez-class is built for the gray zone, where conflict simmers below open war. China's Coast Guard uses intimidation and numbers, but these ships answer with speed and smarts. They dart in to document aggression, then retreat to safety. They act as protectors, herding supply boats and fishermen away from danger. Crews are trained in non-lethal tactics, searchlights, loudhailers, and precise maneuvering. The ships are also floating classrooms. Young officers learn to command under pressure, gaining real-world experience. Training is constant. Damage control, navigation, surveillance. Every action is documented, building a legal case for the Philippines. The doctrine, be sailors, but also witnesses. The Alvarez-class upholds international law, not just national defense. They're tools of strategy, not just war. The next generation of naval leaders is forged here. The gray zone now has a new champion. The Alvarez-class ships are a leap forward, but not without challenges. Maintenance is demanding. High-speed engines and advanced electronics need constant care. Spare parts and technical expertise are vital. These are patrol ships, not frontline warships. In a major conflict, they'd be vulnerable. Their strength is in maritime security, not open battle. Success depends on integrating them into a broader defense strategy. The Navy is investing in training, infrastructure, and local expertise to keep them running. New support facilities and logistics are being built. Behind-the-scenes work is crucial for long-term readiness. The fleet needs balance: patrol ships, frigates, air assets, and coastal defenses. The Alvarez-class is one piece of a larger puzzle. Together they form a multi-layered shield. The nation's defense is stronger for it. The Alvarez-class ships don't sail alone. They're backed by a growing network of international partners. The Indo-Pacific is changing. Freedom of navigation matters more than ever. Aggression in the West Philippine Sea has drawn allies closer. The Alvarez-class is ideal for joint exercises and patrols with the US, Australia, and Japan. They share information, coordinate, and build interoperability. This sends a message: the Philippines is not isolated. Allies provide training, intelligence, and surveillance support. The presence of Allied warships deters aggression and stabilizes the region. The Alvarez-class is a key link in collective security. Their story is one of hope and determination. Strategy and resolve matter more than size. The Philippines, united and resilient, is securing its future, one patrol at a time.